Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another evening here with us at the Overwatch All-Star Brawl, presented to you by Star Esports. I'm out of class, and I'm hoping to bring this game to you tonight with my lovely Shy Guy. But before we get into anything, let's talk a little bit about who we are. We're Star Esports. We have this wonderful double elimination tournament. Lovely 16 teams have signed up. A few have already been eliminated, but we still have quite a few left, so going to be a good night. And of course, we always want to thank our lovely sponsors, OmniCoach.gg. Going into this, they've been helping us out. So you know what? They can help you out too. You just go to their website, look at their products. They provide a lot of tools for you to get better at Overwatch. And yeah, for 10% off on the first video package, just use that code Star Esports. But now we can actually get into the games. It's going to be Redacted versus SK Esports. Shy Guy, I've already introduced you, but how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful here tonight. I didn't think I was going to get another chance to cast with you for the rest of this tournament, but lo and behold, here we are once again. I feel like you have been on the broadcast like every single day this week.
Since Wednesday, yeah, that's true. yeah, it's been a long one, but you know what? That doesn't matter because as long as there's Overwatch in my life, I'm confident that I can pull it off. But I think after today, I will be taking a little bit of a break because I did feel my voice a little bit earlier this morning. Anyways, gonna have a good matchup tonight. I'm looking forward to it. But before we actually get to the game and the teams, we do have someone here in the studio that can tell us a little bit more about one of the teams and what they do for that team. NVIDIA, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I mean, I'm fine. Like I said, feeling the voice a little bit, but it's holding up. So tell us a little bit about what exactly you're doing for Redacted.
So I'm the manager of Redacted. I was there from the beginning. I helped form the team and do all their scheduling. I basically team mom.
Yeah. I mean, it's often what we hear about managers. They just do the scheduling and take care of it. And everyone's there on time, and you have someone to scrim, and that's always nice to have. Are you doing anything else besides managing Redacted? Like, do you play yourself as well?
I play myself, and I'm also the manager of Bermuda.
Okay, well, it's always good to have someone who does more than just one thing. Managing Redacted. I mean, obviously you build up a little bit of a bond with players, etc. Is it something you enjoy? What's the facet of your job you enjoy most, like Redacted specifically?
I've just always been a fan of like cultivating the players and building the rosters. Make sure all of my players have synergy. Make sure there's nothing going wrong. They're always ready to play, ready to scrim, show up on time.
Okay, so they also come to you with problems that they might have, if they have them. You don't have to share any private information, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. My DMs are always full of problems.
I mean, you wouldn't be a manager if they weren't, obviously. Yeah, I mean, obviously, looking at this match tonight, SK Esports, probably a team you're a little bit familiar with already, or was it like a really new thing that you had to research a little bit more?
We've never actually played SK Esports, I don't think.
Okay. Maybe you've seen them played before. A little birdie did tell me that you had some other tournament activity going on this weekend. How have you been faring? Has it helped you warm up a little bit?
It did. We had a really unlucky last two matches, though. Our main sports internet went out, and then one of my players overslept, so I ended up having in two matches, which was awful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on how good of a player you are yourself, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Yeah, I mean, unfortunate to hear, of course, but they're all here now. They're not overslept. You don't have anyone with bad internet, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Let's knock on the wood here. So I definitely hope they're ready. Were the spirits high before they started here?
Okay, everyone always gets really excited for the Star Esports matches. It's their favorite tournament.
Okay, well, that's very good to hear. Obviously, we're very happy about that one. Now, before we get into the actual match, I do wanna give you the opportunity to do as many shout-outs and maybe insults to people as you want, as long as you keep it Twitch friendly, of course.
I'm not gonna insult anyone, but I hope we see Brooks pop off tonight. I hope he gets some 6Ks.
Okay, well, that's a very clear instruction. Get the 6Ks, Brooks. Let's hope he gets that opportunity, and then we'll see what happens. With that, I want to thank you for coming in for the interview. It's always nice to have someone to talk to, and not just Overwatch to talk about, essentially. So yeah, enjoy the match. Hopefully we'll see you again in the future, and good luck on everything you have to do for the team and the other teams you're working with.
Thanks. Good luck to SK Esports and Redacted.
Thank you very much. Well, Shy Guy, looks like it's time to get into some matches. Tell me a little bit about SK, because we've heard a little bit about Redacted now, but SK is getting into this, of course, a little bit in I don't know if they're in the underdog spot, actually, because it's a little bit of an unpredictable one, this.
Yeah, it's hard to say who is really the underdogs, in this matchup in particular. We haven't seen a ton of either of these teams so far in this tournament. This is, of course, just a second round game in the upper bracket. They both got pretty clean 3-0s in the first round of the tournament. Redacted taking down the New England Whalers, SK Esports sending Turbulence to the lower bracket. For what it's worth, and that might not really be a lot, New England Whalers did go on to eliminate Turbulence, so a little bit of a harder opponent perhaps for Redacted in the first round. But with 2 sweeps on the board, it's hard to really draw any conclusions from that. So I think more than anything, we're just going to have to let the players and their play do the talking.
Yeah, and we can definitely let them do that. Well, we'll go to Lijiang Gardens to start off the first one. Lovely map. We've seen a lot of DPS here lately, and I mean, we have seen some teams already being a little bit influenced by that 2-2-2 lock. Not too heavily, but they're definitely not playing as they were before that announcement came in a lot of the time. So maybe these teams will also be a little bit of a victim to that.
Certainly, I mean, this was a map where you often would see kind of triple DPS Wrecking Ball compositions, and that is still very much on the table right now. But teams, as you said, starting to slowly shift away in at least somewhat in anticipation for what is coming on the horizon. We do have a Wrecking Ball out for Red Sledge right now, and we'll see exactly what they wind up rolling out around that.
Yeah, I am definitely very familiar with Red Sledge on that Wrecking Ball. The Class Nation on the Winston next to it, double main tank. Not something that is odd to see. We have seen it come out a little bit more lately. The extra CC, the extra health, extra point contest. It's very nice.
Yeah, well, I think these double main tanks might have a little bit of a problem with what Redacted are running right now with this Orisa Hog. It's going to be hard for them to get in there.
Oh, nice boop. They immediately boop the Orisa inside, but she does get a shield off. Kuya is there to help out as well. And they get the first pick on Machu and Kala as well. One res, but still a numbers disadvantage. They try to CC Kuya away from the team. He's just able to just heal back up, walk back in, and it looks like a very firm point presence here for the side of Redacted. SK though trying to get back in, but not really successful with their tanks already being down. It looks like this fight is not going to be long for now.
Yeah, it was just Luke Minu buying them a few extra seconds as they regroup, as they make some changes here. After that first push does not quite go the way that they wanted. Going over to an Orisa setup now with Red Sledge Class Nation back onto an off tank, a little bit more conventional of a composition here now.
Yeah, a little bit more conventional that you're looking at. They're also going to run that Orisa. Main thing is that Diva versus Hog is going to be interesting. Class Nation has thrown a few good bombs out in the past, but right now it is just going to be the Amplification Matrix. They're burning down the shield. They're trying to burn out more. They don't actually get any sightlines on anyone. So the Amplification Matrix will run out. There's the barrage, but Machu, Red Sledge, Lum, everyone is falling. Only Kala trying to pull it back, but with one kill, that's not going to be enough.
Certainly, Machu tries to go for the barrage there, but there's just not enough attention, being taken away by the rest of his team. It's pretty easy at that point for Redacted to just turn around and deal with them.
That's both tanks gone and not risible. Those are huge environmental kills. Machu and Red Sledge combining there too. I mean, they should just win the fight straight away from this, but the question is whether they will be able to, because Bob is always a scary player in this game.
And they're turning this one around. Look at that, Brooks and Drake.
Red Sledge and Kala down, but they're still missing their main tanks. Their tanks are coming back right now, but it does look like with Red Sledge falling, that's just going to be the end of the push here. And that was looking so good for them. Was it just the ultimates that were ready that just pushed them back?
Yeah, the Bob especially really bought a ton of space there for Redacted as they buy time to get back into that fight, and that is a huge missed opportunity.
Lumino went down, has to get Brez back up, and meanwhile Matthew and Red Sledge have already fallen. It looks like this is going to be a fairly easy point here for the side of Redacted. And SK, they tried, but they just couldn't quite get there. But like by the time they had an opportunity, they just were at such an ultimate disadvantage.
Certainly, and a lot of those ultimates really never even came online. You know, they made swaps after the first fight. That supercharger, the self-destruct, never had an opportunity to be used because they never even built them up. So it's really tough when you lose the first fight like that on a control point, and then you have to swap your composition. You are so behind the 8-ball at that point that you can't afford any missteps from there. And when they can't get the retake after that huge double kill onto the tank line of Redacted, that was their golden opportunity, and without that, they just didn't have a chance. But now we head over to Control Center, where we're going to see quite a few changes coming in, at least for the side of Redacted. Or, sorry, the side of SK.
Yeah, it's going to be SK going over to the, almost the Magos, but it's just going to be the 2-2-2 actually coming in here with the Doomfist. Both teams running the May here. They both try to do something with the wall, but Beam is going to be the first casualty. That's a big pick, especially with Brooks falling as well. Kala did get hooked, but we'll almost get out alive. Not quite there, but enough has fallen on the side here of Redacted that SK is going to be in a good position. They will take the point first.
Yeah, the damage was already done by the time that Kala went down. That pick on a Madshu could give a good opportunity here for Redacted to push back in.
That's not good. It's not what you want to see. They do shield off the halt follow-up here. The amplification matrix probably was posing such a problem. Red Sledge already down. Kala was out of the way, couldn't really get back to the team anymore in Class Nation. We need a lone proper DPS survivor. It's just going to be the supports. They are very nimble, and they might be able to stall out for a little bit more. I don't think they're going to get much further. No, 25, 27% maybe is where it's going to stop.
Fantastic use of the amplification matrix from Drake and the rest of Redacted there to burn down the shield of Red Sledge, make sure they were able to maintain that momentum, get the pick onto the Reinhardt, and everything kind of just falls apart from there for SK.
Yeah, you could really say that, but there goes Kala already, you know, the whole hook combo really working out. The Dragon does get a little bit of value, but they are able to not be split up that much. It's just going to be Lum on the side, but he's just going to get back to the team. But that wall was good. That really splits them up, and Red Sledge cannot push forward without that support that he wanted to get. It's going to be Lum falling as well, and another fill push here for SK Esports.
Certainly, but they are about to come back in here with a bevy of ultimates at their disposal. The Grav, the Blizzard, the Earth Shatter. They've got the tools to make a retake happen. They've just got to be able to come in here and execute properly.
Looks like there are folks do just that. I mean, they are going to be able to just now attack. There's another amplification matrix. They do wall it off, and they grab actually on the wall in order to push people back in. It's only going to be the May stuck in there, but she will be frozen up. She's not going to be able to get out, but so is Lum. He gets bubbled, so he is able to get out. Maxi Dimencio not falling, will not go down, together with Dembek to that lovely Doomfist punch. And they are up in numbers now. They do need to make sure Beam doesn't get the res off, and it does look like that won't be denied, but Beam all gets saved by the Invitality Field. That is such a huge one. Brooks will still go down in the end after the res, but Beam, I mean, it's so deep now. Yeah. That was almost a comeback. Like we saw something like that happening yesterday with Nico. But not today.
They had an opportunity there, but the Zarya Class Nation just so high charge, able to close out that fight effectively.
There is the supercharger already coming out from Dembek, but they're using their wall so effectively to get out these damage charge ultimates. Dembek will just fall after they push in when the wall falls, and this just looks like a proper hold. They're gonna have a tough time coming in now with this May wall.
Pushing through this choke point with the Orisa especially is incredibly difficult. Ooh. Class Nation with another grab here, gonna be ready to go for this one.
Oh, so they semi-wall him off, and it sort of get through. Kala is now nano boosted, so we'll be able to do a lot of damage with that Doomfist. Just goes in there to fall, and I think Class Nation's grab actually got cancelled because he was being killed at the same time by Kuya. So nice stun cancel there. Kuya gets booped up the map there by Lum, so he'll get a little bit extra charge now that he needed it. But 84%, this could be very hard to get into because they really don't have that much time.
No, they committed a lot of ultimates to try to push through that choke point. They're going to have the dragons to buy them some space here.
The Dragon definitely does buy them some space, but who's going to get to the point here? It looks like Brooks and Drake will get there, but 3 on their team have already fallen. Brooks is 1. Drake is the lone survivor on the point here, and the entirety of Redacted has already been cleaned up. I mean, they do take a little bit of time to kill Drake, but they have the time. No one else is going to make it back. That's going to be the point going over to SK Esports, and it's a 1-1 on Lijiang.
What a heads-up play by Red Sledge there. He is able to dance around, avoid the Dragon Strike coming in from Brooks as the rest of Redacted tries to collapse in on top of them. He lands a beautiful Earth Shatter that really secures that fight for them, shuts down any possibility that Redacted had of getting in there and closing it out here on Lijiang Tower. Now we're going to go to a decisive third submap here on Night Market.
Yeah, Night Market is the most neutral one of the 3. Obviously, it's you can run heavy and more DPS centered compositions here, so it's not as open or as enclosed as the other 2 maps are. But still, we're gonna see both of them. Therefore, also make very interesting choices. It's gonna be the solo tank here on the side of Redacted, triple sniper. That's a lot.
And double snipers on the other side, so a ton of ranged poke gonna be coming out from both sides.
Haltuk almost getting something, but Dembek had the Fortify out in time. They're not going to try to rotate to the point. No, they're not going to choose to go over the cliff. It's only Matthew maybe going for a little bit of a flank, but the rest of SK goes forward. Kala gets 1. Maxi Dimencio also falls here, so it looks like this is going to be a very good fight to start off with, but Kuya does sort of try and trade it back. Maybe that res can come in. Brooks also goes down. They at least will not give the point control over. This fight doesn't look to be quite over just yet. It's going to be the Hanzo's facing off. Matthew winning that one out. And Kala is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Oh, they will be able to finish Kala off because of that anti-nade, but just gets res back up. It's just going to be Matthew late. They're going to clean it up here. That's all.
Yeah, that was a really impressive rotation coming out from SK there. They fake like they're going to go around the back to the outside of the point. They loop back around and catch... I believe it was Max Dimencio off with the halt hook and really get that fight started going in their direction. And now some swaps coming out from the side of Redacted. Brooks over to the Genji.
Yeah, Brooks is over on the Genji, but will he be able to get far enough in to actually get some kills here? Because meanwhile, while he's trying to get some flanks going, the rest of his team is just dying on the front lines. It's not really working out for them so far. Brooks is still alive. We're able to charge up a little bit, but might not eat. Yeah, he does get out alive, I think, but I don't think he got that much value. Only charged half of his blade and, well, nothing dying, really.
He's got to find a way to get into the back line. Either shut down Luke Minu, Kalu, Matchu, someone.
Oh, the Dragons, they're both out, but Matchu just gets the natural kill on the Drake. Another hook onto Brooks. Kala will fall on the other side. Drake just gets meshed up, but Matchu is on a tear here. Just keeps on shooting everything down. Maxi Dimencio is on the hog now, just gets hooked in and then booped away with that whole hog. Will they get someone off the cliff? It doesn't quite look like it, but they're really trying. And the halt almost gets Drake. Not quite though, but there is just so much pressure coming out from Red Sledge and co. Maxi Dimencio will just be halted off the map while being slept. No, they hooked him back on. They said we're going to get that kill regardless. He's just going to stagger you a little bit. And meanwhile, it's only Brooks and Kuya here. They're trying, but Brooks and Kuya not going to be doing enough here. The blade comes out, but no Nano with it. Only gets Lum here, and I don't think they're going to get much more. At least he's touching the objective, so they will be able to come back in here. And that kill on Mercy could be big, but Drake falling on the other side is just as huge. And Brooks is going deeper, goes for Luke Mino on the Ana, but will get taken down by Matchu. It looks like they're just going to be able to clean it up here on the side of SK Esports. But Redacted is frantically trying to come back in, and they do res Dembek back up, which is a very big part of being able to possess this point. The shield was a little bit short, has to walk in here without anything. That Dragon, Matchu just cleaning everyone up here together with Class Nation, and that is going to be SK Esports taking Lijiang Tower.
Wow, that last point was so convincing for SK. After a little bit of a slow start here on Lijiang Tower, they really turned things on. That double sniper comp on Night Market was doing wonders for them. Both Madshu and Kuya really Madshu and Kala really popping off.
They are really popping off right now, but I mean, it wasn't a complete disaster here for this side of Redacted. Like, they did do very well on the first point and on the second point as well. There was just a few things in which SK kind of over-edged them. But let's not forget, they did take that 100-0 point on Garden, so it's not like they cannot win anything. They definitely won a lot of fights. They definitely got a lot of promise out. It was just, I think on both those points that win 100-0, either team was just, they got that first fight win with a dominant composition, and the other team had to switch off, and you're behind the ult economy, you're behind the positioning, trying to get through a choke, and that was really what made the difference on both of those maps, I feel.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I would especially say that's true on Control Center because Redacted jumped out to a little bit of a lead there, and then as soon as they lost the point, they couldn't ever fight their way back through the choke point. The Mei from Madshu was just too much of a nuisance for them to really deal with, and they were behind on ult economy. It really just all was a vicious circle that just kept them behind in that point, and they weren't able to turn it around. So Lijiang Tower not quite going their way, but there were some good things for them. They looked very strong on the first point of Lijiang Tower. So this is a series that I feel has potential to be incredibly competitive all the way through. And if anything, our first map is a good sign of that.
Yeah, very much so. And it might actually matter a lot which map we go to. When it comes to what the outcome of the map are going to be. It looks like SK Esports doesn't want to go to Horizon Luna Colony, so that's the map they ban out. Means that we still have quite a few maps in the pool. It's still going to be about 8 maps or so. I don't know, it's quite a few. Which map do you think they're going to go for Redacted? What do you feel works for them?
This is an interesting choice. I mean, I think most teams in general have kind of been avoiding the assault maps. And considering how well SK was playing the Orisa Hog, I think that's probably a decent idea. So I might like to see them go to an escort map here to get the payload into the play. But actually, it looks like we're headed to Anubis.
We're definitely going straight into Anubis. And I don't think that's actually a bad choice, because remember, we saw Redacted actually win out Gardens, a very DPS favorite map, playing that Orisa Hog as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely not out of the realm of possibility that it's a very comfortable composition for them. It's just not, they just haven't had that straight matchup before, because on Gardens they were playing against DPS, on Control Center they were playing against that Reinhardt Doomfist Mei composition, and then on Night Market they didn't play like the Orisa Hog themselves. They started out with multi DPS, so they might have just been thrown for a loop a little bit. And this might be a chance for them to just get back into the rhythm of what they want to do. It's going to be SK Esports starting on the defense here, so not on the offense as they were before, not in the red, in the blue this time. And Redacted's going to go for the attack first, and I'm interested to see what SK is going to pull out on defense. You got to think it's going to be a bunker defense, right? Or at least the Orisa Hog.
On Anubis, at least on point A for sure, like you have to anticipate that. It's been a staple for quite a while on this map. One of the better points for it in the entire game. You can think back to even like Overwatch League Season 1 in the middle of like the dive meta. There were teams that would run the Orisa on the defense of Anubis. So it very much makes a lot of sense here.
I will say though, it's also been very popular to just run the Winston on the defense because you don't know what the attackers can do, and Winston is a little bit more versatile. But the power of Orisa of late and just everything that you can run with it, you're kind of forcing them to run something very annoying that will not snowball over to B. And I think that is the main part of why that Orisa defense works so well. Not just because the hero is good and the composition works, but even if they break it, the way they break it is by not being able to snowball to B in a lot of these situations. I think that is where we're really going to see most struggles come out against these compositions.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I think that's one of the more important things that teams need to consider when they're thinking about what they're going to run on an assault map like this. You need to be able to transition into point B and at the same time avoid your enemies being able to transition effectively into point B, because the snowball is the way that you really kind of it's the easiest way to lose an assault map that you shouldn't have otherwise lost to a team that might not be at the same level. But if you can get a snowball, anything is possible at that point. So I do like what we're seeing now from SK here as they're coming out of the defense. That double sniper again was so effective on Lijiang Tower when they played it. So absolutely no reason to really change things up. Only the Lucamino going over to the Baptiste to work a little bit better in this actual bunker setup now.
Oh, they halt them, they hook them, but the kill doesn't come in on Dembek. And now they're in a little bit of trouble because they do get booped off that high ground, both tanks. Kala actually getting taken down by Brooks. So the attackers of Redacted definitely showing up already. Dembek will fall eventually, but who's going to be more important? The Winston or the Widow? It looks like the tanks are going to be missing for the attack entirely. So it's just going to be trying to build up a lot of damage. Maybe they can get some more kills here, though. They do corral them in this little room. But aside from Red Sledge, who goes very low and gets taken down, that Res might be able to come in. And there's already an application matrix. But that's a lot of... They just get them in there. And there's no one contesting the point right now. They could just try and get it. And with Kuya going in there, just gets 3. Kuya has no fear, gets 4. Kuya on the tear. They corral them in the room, gets the 5. Unfortunately, not the 6K because they already had a kill before that, but 5 nonetheless. That's an amazing stat there for Kuya already.
Certainly, and that's not a sight you see all the time. The D.Va lighting up the kill feed like that, had the nano boost from Drake, and all of his opponents locked in a very small space. With a very powerful mech at that point, so a little bit of a rough time for SK.
They're ready to go in deep, and Dembek will have the primal as well. They go in with the blade, not the nano, but only Brooks going down. They had already used the EMP, so no loss there. Class Nation on the point there cannot hook the Genji while he dashes away. Now uses the whole hog, but I think he's fine. Dembek is not in trouble because he has that primal rage. Goes in deeper, and they really have to keep getting these kills here on the attack. Otherwise, they will not be able to get control here. It's the defensive respawns are so close. Kala is on the Torbjorn now, just trying to run around, throw down a turret maybe, but it's not able to do it. It's actually purple and taken out. Max Dimensio is on a tear here on this Genji. Drake as well chimes in, and Kuya gets that last melee hit. I don't think anyone's going to make it back. Maybe the D.Va, no, gets just hacked up, and that's going to be the attack finish. And that was a quick one.
Well, that's what we were talking about at the beginning, is the danger of the snowball here on these assault maps. When you are running the Sombra on the attack and you don't have to use EMP to crack open point A, you have all of a sudden given yourselves just an incredible opportunity to get that snowball going in your favor. And that's exactly what happens. It takes them a little while to whittle down the respawns from SK, but Redacted, very strong start here on this.
Yeah, and I mean, if B is basically due to the snowball potential why they lose that, which a large part I think it might be, we should kind of look at how they lost point A or how they captured point A really, because that is where that all starts. So how did that happen? Like what went wrong or right for either team?
Well, the thing that goes right for Redacted here is that they only have to use one ultimate to take point A, and it's the nano boost, and then they're able to roll into point B with a bevy of ultimates ready to go, and just absolutely catch SK a little bit off guard there. The EMP makes it so hard to respond to. You kind of have to I guess work on the positioning a little bit as you come into that point B fight if you are SK, to try to limit the effectiveness of that EMP. But once you're in that situation, it's going to be tough no matter what you do.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think the main problem, obviously they only had to use on ultimate, but I think a big part of why they only had to use on ultimate is because of the position they put the enemy team in, and the position that SK was put in. SK is not going to go on their attack. They're going to use a bunker, or at least an Orisa Hog on the attack, but they use a double sniper, so they'll have some range to use it with. And interesting enough, Kuya is going to be on the low ground, not actually on the high ground with the rest of the team, and Brooks, after that aggressive position, will just back off a little bit. Nice hook, and the wall is there as well from the Mei. They don't get the kill because Hawk has too much health, but still a nice attempt nonetheless.
Certainly, and it buys them a little bit of time. They go for another one, but he's going to get res, though.
He's going to get res, but it's still a res down that the attack will still have here. Kuya under a lot of pressure, and Brooks will fall again to Kala here. Kala now has a little bit of free reign because they don't have another sniper in the defense. They only have one healer as well. So Beam has to do so much work. They do get the counter kill on the Kala. And will that res be able to come in? I think it will.
Yes,
but Red Sledge is in such an odd position here, not able to be healed there. So Machu trying to do a lot of damage, not going to be able to get that off. And the sustain from the defense, even though they only have one healer, is so big here.
Max Dimencio getting the long range headshot on Takala there really puts that push to a halt at that point. Lum has to go back and try to get the res. In the meantime, his front line is getting pushed and getting taken down. So, not necessarily dividing their attention in the right places right now.
Definitely not. And there's Red Sledge just pushing forward. They're going to try to go into this right room, but Luke Mino already down because of a huge supercharger here. They're going in with a tire, trying to find more targets, and they're actually going into the shield of Red Sledge there. That's not the one you wanted. Lum, meanwhile, taking it on this side. Red Sledge will still fall to the whole hog of Kuya. But Kala is behind him now. Kala is going to try and maybe do some sneaky movements here with that diva. I don't think they know. They might know. I think they might know. But
Brooks has a hint of what's going on here. He's just gonna fly.
It's a diva. Widow's not gonna just take out a diva that's flanking behind the diva. Doesn't want him to. It doesn't challenge him. It's gonna be Kuya instead. Kuya's trying, but it's just hard. They are getting it a little bit more freely now because I think they were a little bit distracted. So everyone but Ana is through the choke now for the side of SK. But Luke Mino just gets taken out because Kuya knew. Again, sometimes you just know and they just go in, and there is a lovely position here for the defensive sniper of Brooks as all those angles. It's going to be Matchy shooting from the middle though, and Max Dimencio will get the blizzard up but will fall. That doesn't really matter, it looks like, because they did good that res, they get the kills. And once again, Redacted holding on so strong. And only about a minute left here. This is not looking very well here for SK. Even if they snowball it, they can't match this time.
No, and that is beautiful for Redacted there. The Blizzard is able to completely negate both the Supercharger and the whole hog that came out from SK. And now we are very much getting close to full hold territory here on Anubis.
Especially with so few ultimates online. Brooks not throwing out the infra side, came back a little late, but that means it's just going to be free fire. No shield anymore on the attacking side. They only have a Winston and a Diva to negate a little bit of damage, but that's not really team shielding. That's just target shielding, and Brooks just takes down Kala, takes the angle because he knows exactly where Kala is, and it's looking so hard here. They just try to dive in with this Winston, but he gets trapped, walled off. What a nice... I mean, that's just, you put the trap down, it's going to be fine. Drake definitely seeing that one coming. And once again, they have to just try again. And this is going to be the last time they can try. 15 seconds, the tire comes in. Any pick that cannot be res right now can be fatal here. Kala does get it, though. Ooh. They backed up far enough. Oh, look, Mino on the flank to get to the Class Nation. Gonna get a nice sleep dart or a nade off. It doesn't look like it. They don't even make it to the point Class Nation. So close, but not close enough. And that looks like they're gonna be able to go to the next map with an even score. Map 3 coming in at you with a 1-1 score. And we've seen a lot of good plays come out here from both sides. And that full hold was, of course, very nice. But, I mean, this is the one, the 5K. Look at this. Just gets nanoed. Shoots everything. Nice anti coming out as well. I think that's more maybe the Ana's play than Kuya's play, really. That's both the way it goes. And a huge anti-nade, because they have the Baptiste and the Mercy in there. Diva is hard. Even for Nano Boost Diva, it's hard to burst through that. And I was already thinking, how do they die so easily? They have a Baptiste and a Mercy in there, but that explains it all. They were all antied. And both times in a row, both the teams giving each other the 10 votes on the cards. I don't see them in my own game, but I love seeing them at this point. So it's really nice.
It's nice to see these teams, give some props to the opponent when they make a nice play like Kuya just did. Although, like you said,
talking about plays, you know what I'm going to say, Shy Guy? Maybe you can finish it.
I have a feeling it's going to be our MVP poll.
Obviously. Well, go ahead, do it, man.
Okay.
I did a segue. You do the rest.
Fair enough. I'll do the heavy lifting here. Of course, if you are watching on Twitch or wherever you're watching, you can go to Twitch and vote for your MVP for this match. There's a lot of good options so far. Who has impressed you the most should be the one to get your vote. There's still plenty of time left in this series, though, for that to be decided, as well as the outcome of the series to be decided. So if you want to wait, you still have plenty of time to do that. But just be sure to get your vote in before the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, and I mean, like we said, there's still at least 2 more maps left. We've only had 2 so far, but whatever happens, we're not going to see any more assault maps, guys. You can clap your hands, whether you're happy or whether you're angry, you can clap them somewhere else than against each other, but we're not going to see any assaults because Hanamura has been banned. That means we only have hybrid control and escort maps left, so it could be Junkertown, could be Dorado, we could go to, what do we have, Eichenwald, go to Numbani maybe. No, it's going to be Hollywood, actually. So that's the one we're going to see from being picked here by SK Esports. And I mean, it's another bunker map, really, especially on the defensive side. But we have seen 3-3 comps still work out there for a large part. So I don't know. I don't know where this is going to go. It feels like it could go either way, but Redacted showed very well on that Orisa defense.
Certainly, that was a dominant showing. That kind of, in my mind, looked a little bit like a team upset that they dropped the first map of this series and really buckling down, focusing in on the second map there and asserting themselves over SK, who now have to try to find a little bit of a response here as we move over to Hollywood. As you said, this is a really good bunker map, and both of these teams so far have been showing us a lot of that. I mean, whether it's the Orisa Hog setups or the Orisa triple DPS, both these teams very comfortable running that general kind of style of play. So I'm not surprised to see us go to Hollywood, and I can't say I know for sure who has the upper hand as we go into map 3.
Yeah, getting a little bit of pause here as a player just not having the most stable connection in the world, but that happens sometimes. It's not the worst thing in the world. What I do want to touch up again, though, because I did obviously say that Redacted looked a little bit better on that bunker defense. But to be fair, I don't necessarily feel like SK has a bad bunker defense. They just got pushed into a position on the first point of Anubis. Basically, one play was done by Redacted or a misplay was done by SK, depending how you look at it, that made them be in this small room where they couldn't really do any damage back, but only could try and sustain. Then they just got anti-nated and nanoed by a D.Va on, and then they got snowballed. So it was literally that one play where they were pushed off that high ground platform, and then they were just taken over. And something like that is very unlikely to happen on this defense on Hollywood where they were running. So it's going to be a very different situation from Anubis here in Hollywood. And I think that's also why you can still have a lot of faith in SK Esports if you are a fan. And if you're watching and think like, oh, I think they did well, but they just made one misplay. You're correct. That's probably what happened. There was just one miscommunication in the way they rotate it. And yeah, they kind of lost in the game because you never saw Redacted having to walk off the high ground, and that really made their position so much stronger.
Certainly, and they, it's one of those things where it is a split second thing. But if I am SK, I'm a little bit less worried about the defense because, like you said, it was one thing that put you into an awkward spot, and you ended up losing the first point, and then the snowball carried into point B. If I'm SK, I'm a little bit more worried about my attack, though, because they got absolutely nothing done on Anubis on the attack. Redacted were locked in there. So I'll be interested to see if they can really turn things on their heads here on Hollywood. But we are going to be seeing a little bit of a different look now coming out from Redacted. It's a familiar one, but one that we haven't really seen here tonight.
And we know how they're going to play this defense. They're going to wait for the medium to get to an entrance, sort of split them off by just dropping on them, and then kill half the team, then the other half. That's the strategy, and it's been working out very well. They're working against these spam DPS with their Orisa Hog. They're just going to drop down immediately. They're going to just wait for them to come as close as possible.
Certainly, and if you are SK, you got to be careful. You can't get dropped on.
But they just go in hard. They go into the building and then drop from the high ground. Kriya does lose the mech here and the life. So it looked like a good drop, but actually they didn't get any value out of it. So now they're going to be in the small stairs without a D.Va. So all the damage is going to stick now unless they shield it.
Certainly, and Madshu could really get some work done here, but they're going to push out aggressively.
Kala just finds Maxi Divencio. Dembek also falls. This looks like it's going to be a very short defense. And I don't know if that proves that sort of standard ghost setup doesn't work anymore here in Hollywood, but it definitely looks like that's not going to be a successful one this time around.
No, I mean, I think it can potentially work, but if you are redacted, I think you needed to wait just a little bit longer before you try to go in for the aggressive drop, because SK really just kind of backed off. They kited the push from Redacted and really kind of neutered it, and were able to slowly win out because they've just got way more poke damage.
A lot of that is also due to teams just knowing how that composition works. As soon as they see that goes to the high ground, they know what they want to do, and they just play into it. Nice barrage trade from Matthew. Brooks gets hooked as well by Class Nation. I don't think this is going to be a long fight at all, because two heroes up. You should be good here, and the attack is just going to steam through here through the street space. Even using the dragons there, even though I don't think that was necessary.
No, not entirely necessary, but it makes sure they get the payload moving immediately, and you know, the dragon's not always the most effective ultimate, so you're not usually too shy about throwing that one out. And now this is beautiful for SK, because they get to control these choke points.
And Dembek taking a lot of damage straight away. Will just straight away fall. They just push him away. That self-destruct might get almost got Matchy, but not quite. The cart was blocking that. Brooks is going to be taken out by Kala, but you need a little bit more from your Widowmaker if you're going to do anything. And Class Nation, meanwhile, showing how much more you can get out of a road up right now. Brooks under a lot of pressure from Matthew. Don't think that fight will go Brooks' way. There we get the kill, and the point is captured.
And SK not giving Redacted's DPS really any time whatsoever to find the picks that they need. They're winning the frontline battle in an instant, taking out those tanks of Redacted, and really just not giving them the opportunity to turn that fight around.
Yeah, and they're so ready as well for the insight now, because Matthew just straight away goes over to the Junkrat, knows that the Pharah isn't as effective in this enclosed area, but now does get hooked out, and that's easier to do with a Junkrat. Will get rezzed up, and they got the kill onto Kuya, so they are up in numbers right now, but no one to hook them. Was a nice halt, but who's gonna hook them in? No one is, and Matthew gets the double onto Dembek and Drake. They're just gonna keep on going here. They're really not happy about how that Anubis map went here. SK not gonna stop whatsoever.
No, and now they're rolling into this final fight. They've got the Transcendence for the sustainability, and nothing available for Redacted.
Oh, they barely get on the point. Point 63, that wasn't a lot. Kuya already down. Beam as well, though. They do get a consolation to Luke Mino here, who actually had the Transcendence, but if they don't get more, even canceling out that Transcendence won't do you much good. It's just going to be Drake and Max Dementia going down, and wow. I mean, that's just a very fast time. They were basically only halted for like 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah, that was unreal. They almost 4 minutes.
They're missing 3 seconds. Well, that does mean that they spent 4 minutes and 3 seconds going through the entire map, which, I mean, it might not seem like a lot, but I think if you just cap it straight away and then just don't stop moving, the payload does it in about 2 minutes. So there was still a decent amount of stall coming out, and that is something that could be potentially important in further rounds. But they do have a little bit of a mountain to climb here on the side of Redacted. I gotta ask though, yes, it was a very fast attack or a very successful attack, but how much of that is just off the back of Redacted essentially starting off on the wrong composition, as it looked like?
I mean, I do think it's a little bit of both here. That was excellent play from SK, but I don't think you get an attack like that just by playing well, especially not against a team as good as Redacted. There have to be some mistakes coming out from the other side that you are able to capitalize on. And you know, you mentioned it, that the compositions are one of the things that really hurt them, because they tried to roll out with the 3-3 on point A. That doesn't work. They try to swap over to the dive tanks for point B. That doesn't work. They try to swap over to the Orisa Hog of their own for point C. So they never got stabilized on any composition. They never built up an ult economy to speak of. And they were just constantly on the back foot.
Yeah, they're going to throw out this Bastion defense now, though. Kala on the flanking was Sombra. That's going to be their roamer, so as we call it nowadays. Going to be a double, a little bit of a spam comp with Brooks and Maxi Dimencio, but they're still going to have a lot of trouble trying to break through this. Beam doesn't even get through the choke clearly, and they already get Brooks and Beam for that reason.
No, I mean, normally one of the best things about Redacted's comp that they're running right now would be the shield break that they have available to them. But when the Bastion is on the other side, you are going to lose the shield battle no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're able to put down a Bastion on your own, we do see that strat come out sometimes, not particularly on Hollywood, but on some other maps.
Oh, we're gonna see it here. We're gonna see it here, and they've got 2 shields, so that they do have an advantage there. They can keep Max Dimencio pretty safe, but he's hacked up, can't even go into turret mode right now.
Yeah, so the main thing they're doing is they're not running the Hog. That's the only difference really between these two teams. Everything else is the exact same. And that also means there's going to be Sombras on both sides. Max Dimencio gets hooked out because the rest of the team was halted backwards. You think it's going to be the halt hook, but it's actually going to be the halt, and that enables the hook rather than following it up, or so. I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I mean, usually
it's a twist on the halt hook.
Yeah, usually you're pulling them out of the halt, but this time the halt clears them away and allows for that hook to come in for Class Nation, shuts down yet another push, and this is already beautiful for SK here in terms of time that they're taking away.
Oh, they use that Amplification Matrix, but the MP just comes in from the other side. Dembek trying to run away. I think he'll get out alive. And that means some ultimates have been used from both sides. Matthew does have that Bastion ult, but also gets EMP'd out. Matthew actually going down, and they can't res that because Lum is hacked up. So this is actually a really good opportunity for them to progress forward. And they've got 2 on the point here. Drake will fall next to Maxi Dimencio, but Drake will also get res back up. It looked like a really even fight, but they're still going to win this from the defenders. And SK Esports holding on here on the Hollywood.
Yeah. Class Nation is really the hero of that fight for SK. Goes up onto the high ground, able to get the kill onto Drake. Yes, he eventually gets rezzed up, but that was enough to kickstart things, to allow them to stabilize a little bit. They get the res onto Mad Shoe, and now they are looking incredibly solid here on Hollywood. We might be seeing kind of a reverse of what we had on Anubis.
Yeah, the shields is already down there for the defense, and they can't put one up because the Amplification Matrix comes out, and Maxi Dimencio just does way too much damage. And Lum is looking like, I want to rest someone, but who am I going to rest? You know what? I'm just going to run away. That's a better plan. And I do think you're right. I don't think it would have mattered because all their damage was just gone, and wow. I mean, Lum even getting chased down. Brooks is really, like, you know what? I'm just going to keep on running and keep on killing things. Probably now has actually Macho in his sights. And is going to be ready to try and take that Bastion out solo. Will that go off? That has to reload. Oh, the reload breaking up that kill. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, Madshu able to win the 1v1 there. Now jumping off the high ground.
And they're just going to stop this attack straight away with that EMP. Yes, Kala will fall, but they already had Maxi Dimencio and Dembek down. And obviously, they already had to kill under Brooks. So now Brooks will have the EMP to come back in. But it's just going to be like there's just this mirror going on right now where the attackers feel like they have to use that double shield. And it's very interesting to watch. Oh, Max Dimencio. Oh.
Gets hooked in, barely survives.
Yeah, but they do actually counter that. We're just putting out the Amplification Matrix. They take down Class Nation. That's a lot of threat gone, not being able to be hooked in. And their Bastion's on the high ground yet. Machu isn't in position to do anything just yet. Not that they know, but he isn't. So they can just get some free progress without anything happening right now.
Certainly, he's back up there now. The halt almost pulls him off the edge.
Yeah, now it's Machu with that Bastion ult. But the EMP comes in, and Maxi Dimencio takes down Machu. There's Class Nation on the side trying to take him out, but he's just going to be taken down instead. And the attack is going to be able to keep continuing here, because with those 2 damage dealers down, I don't think they're going to be able to do much. Red Sledge and Luke Mina will fall late, and there is Lum as well. Kala is still behind him somewhere, though, so Kala could still do something, but doesn't have the EMP quite yet.
No, he's probably just going to take this opportunity to poke a little bit, try to build up towards that EMP so that his team can use that to re-engage here. I like where Max Dimencio is positioned right now.
Yeah, I mean, they could just do whatever they want from that angle. And they had seen him, obviously, and he is hacked up right now. But that means that Class Nation has to go to Kuya. It's a split attack. But Kala the EMP just takes down, to make sure that both Dembek and Max Dimencio can take down by Machu. And that is going to be the attack halted once again. Yes, they are able to get Machu, but I don't think that's going to be enough here. Although, saying that, Drake is just on the high ground with that Amplification Matrix, doing so much healing, so much damage. Dembek might be able to, well, I think he's going to be able to get out alive. I don't think he's going to be able to win this fight on his own.
No, he tried to go for it with the Earth Shatter and does keep them alive in that one, but the respawns are closer here. for the side of SK, so they're going to be able to get back in here.
They got Lum with that Bastion. The Red Sledge also going to fall here. They do have the EMP as well on Brooks, but I don't think they might even need it. Class Nation hacked up. Will probably get demeched here. No ult just ready just yet. Drake is on the anti-heal. Will be taken down by the Baby Diva. I don't think Class Nation will be able to survive for much longer. And it looks like this second point is going to get in. I thought they were attacking a little bit too early, but it works out very well for Redacted there.
Maximencio able to get the crucial pickoff at the beginning of that fight onto Lum. No Valkyrie available, no Res available for SK, so they just get pushed back, and now the split spawn is going to be rough.
Yeah, and they get Machu. They almost got Red Sledge. Brooks keeps on going very deep for these picks and just gets a lot of value out of that. Both EMPs up, so they've caught up with each other. And yeah, this is looking very good for Redacted, but they do have to make some pace here. They cannot finish in overtime because then they just can't win the map anymore.
Certainly, and that's kind of the goal here. If you are SK at this point, you just want to stall as long as you can.
Huge EMP. Gets almost everyone, but Brooks tries to answer, and they actually get Kala, so the advantage is right now in the hands of Redacted, and that's so nice. Countering the EMP with your own EMP. There's a supercharger. Can't get deleted right now, and Drake also has the amplification matrix if they want to go for that, and it does look like they're going to set up for that. It's going on the flank here. Drake actually going on his own, healing and supporting and damage, just dem back up. It's going to be very good. Max Dimension does go down, but I think that Rez might be able to come back in. It does. Lum does get the heal on the Machu here, and Machu not on the Bastion, is just on the Hanzo, and he's not going to be able to do anything. It looks like they're going to be able to finish it slightly under a minute, but they will be able to finish it before overtime hits.
No, and I mean that's really the name of the game there for Redacted at that point. You just needed to finish before that clock hit 0, because now you are still significantly behind in terms of time bank, over 3 minutes difference between these two teams. So it's really going to come down to, for Redacted, either coming up with a really crazy point A hold and perhaps getting like a full hold, which is definitely doable on this map, or some kind of long overtime push. In which case, the amount of time that you have doesn't matter that much.
No, not necessarily. But I mean, I think the main part, what they like I said, what they do have to do is they have to get a very good attack here, because if they don't, I mean, 4 minutes you can hold point A 4 minutes. You can full hold Hollywood, and we know that their first defense was probably not something they're going to repeat in that fashion because they basically didn't hold on at all. But still, like regardless of that, they do have to still get a good attack because you do want to put some pressure on the SK rather than the pressure right now being on them. And they did take a little bit longer on their first attack than the time they have now.
Certainly, it's going to be the dueling bastions once again for both sides. This time, Madshu not going to be on the Sombra. Perhaps thinks maybe I can't build up EMP quickly enough, but I could get to a barrage.
Oh, we haven't seen Kala's Bastion yet, so I'm very looking forward to that one. But no EMP on their side. And that was a very big tool last time around, although I do feel that Brooks was using it a little bit better. So we're going to see that coming again. Again, the double shield. They break the shield on the defense, and they almost get Lumino, but he's able to dip and dodge. Max Dimension does get Red Sledge, and that's a big pick, because yes, Lum has the res up, but they maybe cannot get that in with all those bodies there. They do get it off somehow, but Class Nation will lose the mech for it. And now the tanks are on the objective. They're able to start getting some progress, but Max Dimencio goes down here to Kala. Kala falls as well. No more rest for the defense, but there is one for Max Dimencio. It looks like the ult is there, but the barrage is there for Machu, and he gets the one he wanted, but there's still trades happening here, and it looks like Redacted are the ones coming out on top here. Luke Mino dodging all that damage by jumping up on the high ground, but just the supports there, I don't think they're going to be successful holding on for too long here. Lum is going to try the Valiant Mercy go again, hacked up, taken out, and Redacted managed to at least get point A. And now the question is, how far can they get? And with that EMP coming up, I'm thinking pretty far with all those switches coming out.
I mean, this is what I was talking about. This is the overtime push that they really needed here on Hollywood to give themselves a shot on this map. Now, the onus is on SK here to try to find a way to get back in here, recontest, get this Bastion bunker off of the cart.
And obviously they're going to try here with Brooks at EMP. That can just win one fight outright. And then they need to save everything else for the next one, I feel. There it goes. Take down Red Sledge straight away. Class Nation, Luke Mino. Everything is going to fall down here. Kala's going to try a little bit. Wasn't hacked up, obviously. It is a sniper. Doesn't matter that much. But only against the Immortality field. Against Brooks as well. That's a good pick. But Brooks will be back. And they can even res it if they want to. So not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's just a consolation prize there for Kala and his teammates, who get completely shut down by that EMP. And now still so many tools there for Redacted. The supercharger is going to make Max Dimencio so lethal.
That definitely is. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with this, because I mean, they do get a lot of damage out, but it is destroyed quickly because the shield was a little bit off. Max Dimencio does get the Bastion ult off, though, and is not taken down. Will get a lot of damage eaten, but it's still going to be able to break another shield of Red Sledge, so no defensive effort coming in again. Lum and Kala, the lone survivors who get Luke Mino. And Kala does get one, but you're not going to go Carpe here. It's going to be a second checkpoint gone by Redacted. And if they're not careful, they could get it to the end of the map because they still got so many ultimates up. Defense getting something of their own, though.
They finally are, but they're also making swaps. They're going over to the triple tank lineup here for the last point. Madshu sticking on the Hanzo because he's very close to this Dragon Strike, but they really don't have a ton of tools here.
They really don't here, but the Dragon Strike could be big, especially if Class Nation is able to zip them out with that self-destruct. But the EMP, I think Class Nation was going for it, but the EMP came out before he could go up in the air and press Q. So they're just gonna get wiped, completely wiped. That's just such a clean sweep. And look at the ultimates. It's just one used. Kuya almost hit the supercharger pack. That's gonna be so much damage amplification for that Bastion.
Yeah, I legitimately, I don't know how SK are going to be able to get back into this. It's going to have to be a miracle bomb from Class Nation to really make something happen. They're going to try to make it happen here, but the Amp Matrix out early.
And there's one person I trust to get a miracle bomb out. It is Class Nation. It looks like they at least get Brooks with that. That's a very nice thing to get. Red Sledge Nano. So there's a lot of damage being able to come out from that. And they are trading out a little bit here, but they have to get some more here on the defense if they want to hold on. And they do get Max Dimencio. And I don't think that Rez is going to be able to come in, but it's Redacted. They're just going to pull everything back. No more healing, no more damage, no more tanks. They're going to complete the map in overtime, and now the pressure is most definitely on.
Oh, it's just completely flipped. That is unreal, and that is so demoralizing. If you are SK, you come out with a beautiful attack round of your own. Your defense was not bad by any means on Hollywood. Yes, Redacted finished the map, but you slowed them down entirely. They finished with under a minute remaining, and then for that to happen in the overtime is just brutal to see.
That's definitely not what you're going for in most of these situations, but you know what? They still have an opportunity to come back. But it is so we were talking before about how it was almost looking like the Anubis situation but then the other way around. But I think the biggest difference here is that the attack from Redacted was about as good as their defense, if not a little bit better. And SK's attack on Anubis was just, I wouldn't say non-existent, but they really couldn't get as much done. Like they couldn't even get a percent on the first point. So that difference, that's just all the difference you need, really, because
they kept themselves alive.
Yeah, because the first defense for SK wasn't that great, obviously, but it was in a similar fashion as the first defense of Redacted wasn't that great. But the attack was just, well, a lot better.
Yeah. So now SK need to find some answers. And last time it was the 3. Last time it was the 3-3 on the defense for Redacted that didn't work out. But SK want to try it on the attack.
Oh, they're gonna go through that security room. Class Nation takes a lot of damage, but forehead guys, we don't know. We just go goats. But Luke Mino, they do get through, and it does force the rotation here from Redacted, and that could be big. I mean, they have a lot of time to work with, so they can build up these ultimates if they want to. and they take the cafe position. And now it's going to be on Juice. Max Dimencio juiced up here and is definitely just shooting down. But they take these aggressive angles. You cannot shoot them if they're in those angles, and they keep rotating. And in this rotation game, it feels like they're eventually going to win it out because they have a Lucio, and the defenders don't. Redacted, they just have to keep running. Max Dimencio in an awkward spot, and they do get Lum as a trade, but they have to just run in there. The Nano Brigade of Machu is going mad here, going chase the Mercy down, and she will not live. I don't think she will. Beam actually gets out somehow, but I don't know how that happened. There's going to be supports that trying to keep each other alive, but if they keep each other alive, who's going to keep the rest alive? That needs to keep the point back. It doesn't look like anything is going to happen. SK, interesting way that they are able to cap that point out with that 3-3.
Yeah, that's actually really intelligent, the way they played those rotations. They knew what the response was going to be from Redacted, from Max Dimencio. Eventually, he cannot run forever, and they are able to take down the Bastion. Interesting that Redacted are sticking with this. They've built up a lot of ultimates, so they probably want to make good use of them and regain control of the card.
I mean, I would want to do the same if I was them, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to be able to do a lot with that. They've got 6, so they will be able to do it. There's a supercharger already, just making sure they can't push that far. And Red Sledge, I mean, they're in the saloon, but I don't know if that's necessarily what they want, where they want to be. Oh, the EMP. It just denies a sound barrier. That's what they needed. They're going to shatter them all. They're going to use almost all the ults they have, but it doesn't really matter if they win this fight. 2 minutes left on the clock, and if they burn time, all they need to do is just hold them before they get to last. And 2 minutes, even less than that, with that stagger coming in, not a whole lot of time to get to last.
No, not a ton, but that's what the huge time bank for SK has done here. It gives them a little bit of breathing room. They can afford to lose a fight or two, whereas, you know, Redacted, they had to win basically every fight here on Hollywood to push as far as they did. A few, you know, opportunities for error here for SK, and they use one of them there. Now they're looking to re-aggress onto the card.
Red Sledge has that shatter, but just gets hacked up, thrown down, is now nanoed, but that's such a nice position here because it's so hard to get to. They can only get there through the saloon and loop all the way around. So Max Dimencio is going to be safe, but he needs to get some kills here in order for the safety to have any value, and will still go down. It was a nice attempt, a nice positioning here, but all they do is buy time. It is a lot of time, though. We started with about 140, and now it's only, well, 50 seconds left, and they might even be able to contest again.
Now they definitely are going to be able to push back in here. You know, how effective will that be? They're going to, you know, wrap around to the far side and try to get back out here, get Max Dimencio in a position to fire onto the card.
And that EMP is so close here, and Red Sledge gets the charge, but just gets charged out. Actually, didn't get the shatter up for that reason. Max Dimencio will fall, but Brooks has the EMP. They could just end this fight here, but I think they want to just hold on for the EMP for the next one, because Brooks, I mean, it doesn't feel like he needed it. With 20 seconds, running into an EMP and all those other ultimates? Ooh, SK.
Yeah, you've got to be worried if you're SK right here, because you don't have a whole lot of tools at your disposal. Lum has got to avoid being hit by this EMP, getting hacked up. They cannot lose the sound barrier.
Oh, the Class Nation self-destruct, not getting value this time around. There is the beautiful EMP. Red Sledge immediately falling. Class Nation out of mech, out of life. Kala is in the middle of everything, and the sound barrier does land, so Dembek will fall as a result. And Machu trying to fly around, but Drake has the aim with the burst rifle, and Luke Mino slept the Bastion on the side. Maybe they have what it takes here because they've got the sustain, they've got the damage from the Zarya, but it does look like the defensive spawns. I mean, they're both having sort of equal numbers, but now that Max Dimencio is back, that's when it really starts. They get booped off the cart, and this is where the Redacted will win the map, and they get a 2-1 victory. And that was SK Esports map pick, if I'm not mistaken.
It was indeed, and I mean, we saw why it was their map pick. Their first attack here on Hollywood was fantastic for the most part. They tore through Redacted the first time around. It all just kind of fell apart in that overtime defense. The Bastion of Max Dimencio really showing up, and you know that's one of those cases where when your backs are kind of against the wall as Redacted, you're just like, let's play Bastion on the attack, and we're gonna see how far we can roll with this pirate ship, and it works wonders for them. They're able to, you know, turn Hollywood on its head and secure themselves map point here as we head into map 4.
Yeah, and that's all you really want. You want as many maps as possible to work into your favor. And when we go into map 4, it's gonna be a doozy. I mean, it could very well work on SK Esports' favor still, but Redacted is looking better and better with each map. I mean, they had a little bit of a struggle on the first defense, but like we said, that wasn't necessarily because they weren't playing well, just because they just couldn't answer because they kept switching. And that could be a mistake in and of itself, but all you really need is to win one fight on that defense, and then you sort of stop that snowball, and they just weren't able to stabilize like that. Iconwhat's going to be banned out, so we won't be seeing another hybrid map, not that we couldn't straight away anyways. But we are going to be seeing a map 4 on another map type, I feel. And it's going to be... It could be an escort map, because we still haven't seen either of those, and it's either escort or control at this point, because we don't have any assault map.
So we got Jokertown, Dorado, Ilios, Oasis.
Yes, those are the 4 they can pick from now. I'm curious what SK will go for, in honesty.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to be questioning a little bit, you know, what your game plan was. You went into Hollywood, and you could tell they came into the map. They were ready to run the Bastion, at least on the defense. And it started out, it was a pretty solid effort for them on their first defensive effort, but Redacted adapted to that over the course of the series. They started running the Bastion of their own, and they were just getting better results.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes that's just how it goes. I mean, it sounds like a very dumb way to say it, but it is just sometimes how that works. And I'm very curious to see if it's going to be a similar fashion on other maps. We're going to go to Ilios, and obviously SK did win out the control map that they played before. So it's not a weird choice. Whether Ilios or Oasis was a better choice, that's another question. Because you could say Ilios has a little bit more, it has a little bit of a different playing field than Oasis, obviously. And they both have one map with a hole in the middle, but from one you die and from one you don't. So the question is, which one is more favorable to you? And SK seems to think that they want to throw people in the actual well, which doesn't let you escape.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher stakes.
No safety net for the pros, right?
Yeah, that's how it ought to be. If you get pulled down the middle, or the hole in the middle of the map, then you don't deserve to walk back up the stairs. At least not here on Ilios. But we're gonna start things off on Ruins. So I kind of have a feeling we might get to see some snipers in the mix here.
Yeah, not that much opportunity to pull people in the environment here. There is, of course, the huge cliff on the side, which is essentially the whole side of the map. But you don't see that many environmental kills coming out, because that's usually not where the fights take place. So right. We could see snipers here, but on the other hand, how much use do you get out of a sniper if there's constantly shielding your way? That's the one consideration that either team has to make.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, SK have really shown that they like to run this double sniper, setup. Although now actually being joined by Class Nation on the Sombra right now for a triple DPS wrecking ball attack here for SK.
I mean, maybe Luke stays on the Tracer and we get a quad DPS? I don't think so, but who knows? Could be. The Lum is just going to be solo Mercy, just speed boosting them out. It's going to be the quad DPS. On the other side, they're going to run a 2-2-2 setup. Once again, Drake on this Baptiste, that's been such a nice tool for Redacted.
Certainly, those immortality fields have really been on point from him all night. Already, Red Sledge going to the back.
Yeah, they're pressuring them out. So Beam and Lumino are traded out in front of each other, but obviously losing that Mercy is a little bit bigger. Although they still have the Baptiste. It's not the biggest problem in the world, but losing Brooks, I think Red Sledge, that's the one you really needed there, and that's why they can't contest the point anymore. It's going to go over control of your first to Redacted, and they look to be in a very nice position here. Somehow Lumino decides to go over to the Pharah, though.
That's an interesting choice. Perhaps give Lum a little bit more, options for escape. Give him some more mobility in these fights.
Yeah, Brooks will have to be pressured a lot though, because otherwise that Ash doesn't have that much trouble dealing with a Pharah, and already looks to do that. Luke Mino shot out of the sky, and I don't think anyone's gonna res that up. Beam is now hacked up, but they still have the Baptiste. That's the main thing. They have a safety net. Brooks gets taken out by Kala though, being the superior sniper. Max Dimencio just takes 2 back, and then Brooks just gets res back up. It doesn't look good here so far from SK, but who knows? I mean, they're really relying on these DPS picks, and their ults are starting to come online.
That's true, but you know the ults are not necessarily the reason why you run these DPS picks. I mean, you know the Infrasight not super impactful. That EMP is gonna be huge though, especially for breaking apart the bunker setup.
The EMP is the one they need, but if the Baptiste manages to hold on to that immortality field and use it after they've been hacked, that would be huge. Class Nation knows where the Baptiste is though. They have to go around it. It's definitely on the prowl here. But it's so hard. They're trying to hack the Baptiste before they throw the EMP out. EMP does come out now, but the immortality field I think is still there and does get thrown out. It's active. Beam will fall, but so do Red Sledge and Luke Mino, so it looks pretty good. There are trading kills still. I think the defenders have it all figured out though. Redacted with Brooks pulling ahead in the numbers definitively, and with 88% left, it's gonna be so hard for them to touch. Red Sledge will be able to touch probably, but how are they gonna ever get it back?
It's gonna be nearly impossible here. Pushing into a Valkyrie, a supercharger for Dimbeck. They're just gonna get melted as soon as they touch foot on the point.
Maxi Mencho going for the ninja moves, just takes some out from the side. Luke Mino finds one with the barrage, but with Maxi Mencho just hitting all the headshots, it's not going to be enough. And Redacted in a very dominant fashion taking ruins there.
That's what I like to see out of Redacted, and kind of the performance I expect out of this team. They looked incredibly on point there, not giving a lot of opportunities to the DPS of SK Esports. And now, on the verge of going down to the lower bracket here is SK. If they lose either of the next 2 maps here on Ilios, it will be Redacted moving on up.
Yeah, moving on up in the world, and I mean Redacted definitely don't want to be dropping down here. And they don't have to, but SK won't be out if they lose this. Neither team will, because we still have a lower bracket for them. But they're going to run out with this DPS on both sides now, and both running the Orisa. But Class Nation, once again, on the Wrecking Ball, so not the Roadhog pick here.
I mean, that's an interesting one to me. You know, I think it's going to be...
They're going to get the first pick here on the Brooks, and they do boop away Kuya. I think they have to double boop with that Class Nation, which could be big, but they don't have anyone to hook it with. Dembeck falling as well. Looks like this is a good start here from SK. They're going to take first point control. Oh, Class Nation. But they get Kuya in, so they trade it out fairly.
Yeah, but
the fight isn't over yet. I mean, they do both have the Eurysis back up because Dembeck did get rezzed here, but that's not what you wanted from your Wrecking Ball. He does get back quickly to the fight, but both Pharahs, they're fighting from the opposite wall. They can't see each other, but they can see each other's rockets, and that's a very interesting crossfire that's developing. It's like a symmetrical fight that's happening, and that's always cool to see. They sometimes shoot rockets in each other's direction. They don't really get anything. That Halt will not get anything from Redacted, but that Hook will. They trade out the Orisa for the Roadhog, and I don't know which one you'd rather have. Looks like Luke Mino just wants to res back up that Roadhog, because Dembeck has also fallen, but just pays for that with his life. And another nice move for Max Dimencio. They've stalled out this fight until about 42%, but I mean, that fight never really ended, did it?
Right, and not a terrible outcome for SK there. You know, that fight was probably going against you for the better part of that 42%, so they are able to at least get a nice consolation prize thanks to getting the first cap. But now they've got to find a way to back in here. Class Nation over to the Roadhog now. They want to be able to land some halt hooks of their own. Kala on the Widow trying to deal with Max Dimencio.
And Kala doing a pretty good job to start off with. Has been doing well on the Widowmaker so far, but they really do have to start fighting these picks. They are, like, Lum is especially doing very aggressive on this Lucio. Tries to get the boops off, but it's just going to be the defense taking 2 kills straight away. They get Brooks as a consolation, will not be able to get res back up, but they're already missing both their Pharah and their Lucio, and they're just going to retreat for a little bit because they don't want to take that fight right now.
I think that's smart, honestly. That, you know, if they try to stick around in that, it could drag on forever. There was no way they were going to win that fight decisively.
And there is the application matrix once again. The Baptiste showing up big from Drake tonight once again. Red Sledge does throw out the supercharger, now throws out the shield, but he has broken immediately because the amplification matrix and the supercharger are just stacking so much damage onto one another. There's the supercharger going down to Maxi Dimencio, but they really have to start getting some value out of this Orisa Roadhog, and they're just not. The DPS from the side getting so much value from Brooks and Maxi Dimencio, and it's going to be SK under so much pressure here. They're really trying, and they get the kill on the Drake. That's a big one. Kuya and Class Nation. No, Kuya gets to fly back out, but it's going to be Machu and Max Dimencio trading out against each other. Luke Mino in a 1v1 with Brooks on the Hanzo will not win it, but will also not lose it. The Dragon does come out here, but Kuya gets taken out before he can throw out the sound barrier. It looks like Redacted has got full control at this point, and they will not be giving up this map or this match. Redacted looking so good tonight, and all they have to do is clean out these last few members, looking like they're going to do a very good job of that. Red Sledge, they're all back. I mean, they do have a little bit of a chance, but Machu is already down. There goes Red Sledge, and it just looks like they can't get a grip onto this map. Only getting the Mercy and the Baptiste there. It's nice to get those healers, but they really need to get some more here. They might be able to do that with Lum and Luke Mino still being there, but Class Nation falling, I don't think you're going to be able to turn this around with just your supports. Although saying that, DPS Lucio could be very strong. This fight is still going. They just cannot grasp that Lucio and that Mercy. They're so mobile. They're so, well, I almost want to say annoying, but they just keep on booping. Lum goes even further, tries to get them back out of that shield. Will fall for his aggressive efforts, but there's so much going on. The Pulse Bomb going in the back line. Dembeck will fall. Red Sledge barely getting out alive of that. And there is Machu going down to Brooks. It's so back and forth, but SK has now turned it. It looks like they're in a favorable position. They're not going to be able to take out that Mercy, but they do take out, oh, Max Dimencio. They're just turning. Both these teams just turning it back around, and now it's once again Redacted in the driving seat. Luke Mino finally goes down. That's like 4 minutes just flying around his Mercy. Alum, the last one alive. Sliver of HP will fall in the overtime. Finally takes down Redacted. I thought they had it for sure, and then they just come back and they do it again, and then they yank him back. It's wow. That was not what I expected from that last fight, but that was amazing to watch.
Yeah, that was quite a way to end things. The effort coming out from Lum and Luke Mino is so impressive. Those two were alive on the point alone for way longer than they had any right doing. They buy enough time for their team to really get back into that fight, but they can never quite clear Redacted off the point. Max Dimencio's double kill with the barrage was kind of the nail in the coffin there for SK, as they do drop in this series 3-1. It was a very close series from start to finish. Obviously, several of these maps could have gone any way, especially there on Hollywood. That's the one that if you're SK, you're kind of kicking yourself over. You are looking back on that one. You're going over the VOD of that one, and you're a little bit annoyed about how it went down.
I mean, it's both Hollywood, but also to a degree Anubis, where I think they could have maybe put up a lot of maybe a better fight, and then I think both their defense and their offense felt a little bit underwhelming. But I mean, they did have to play against Redacted, who were just on par, like brilliant form tonight after that first map.
Absolutely. So that is going to be Redacted moving on up into the upper bracket.
Going up against Citizens next. Yeah,
and that's a juicy matchup.
That is the one. Yeah, but before we can talk about any of that, we're first going to talk a little bit to someone who knows exactly what it was like to be in that match. It's going to be, I think it's going to be
Max Dimencio.
It is. Welcome to the chat and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
So I want to talk a little bit about Hollywood, because you guys came out initially on your defense running goats on the first point, and it looked like SK caught you a little bit off guard. Can you walk me through what kind of happened there?
Well, I'd say it's less based on Hollywood in particular. I'm going to give it a little bit of a background. We've been scrimming the same kind of maps for the past week or so, and you saw it whenever we played on Anubis. We destroyed on Anubis, because we've been playing the same couple maps for quite a while, and that means that we've gotten pretty used to playing those maps, the counter compositions, what can be played, what can't be played. But we hadn't played Hollywood in a while, so we thought we can just run off on the normal goats on defense, and then we didn't swap fast enough. We were kind of in a transition phase a lot of the time through second, and then we transitioned again through third. We didn't really have a single composition, and then because we kept swapping, we kept resetting our ult economy, so we never had a leg up in the fights. And I can attribute most of that to how we haven't played it. So I realized that whenever we were on offense and I saw Bastion, I was just like, screw this, I'm going Bastion. And we have a Bastion comp that is basically, it's pretty good against Bastion comps, and it can also work against goats depending on how you play it. We didn't usually see the goats, which is why we were caught a little bit off guard at first. Our rotations were fine on defense the second time, but basically, long story short, we came up with it because they had a Bastion and we felt like it, and no other reason.
Yeah. So the double main tank, the Orisa Reinhardt setup that was kind of enabling the Bastion for you on Hollywood, is that something that you break out when you see a Bastion on the other side specifically, or is that just kind of your go-to whenever you guys want to run Bastion?
Well, it depends, and I'm not gonna go through our entire
you'll have to
like compositions and counter compositions.
fair,
right? But I will say that there's different ways to fight a Bastion. You can either choose to go and take the Bastion duel and try to win the shield war and be creative in the compositions you make for that, or you can try to play around the Bastion, make it so he doesn't get much value. Like with Goat's composition, you can negate a lot of the value he gets, and then you get close and he has a much harder time against a lot of the cleave damage that can't be blocked by shields. Or you can go a composition that beats them with ultimates. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it, and that's one of the fun things about counter comping. We just chose one of those, but you could take any one of them as long as you have a set plan and your team knows how to play it, and you can play it better than they can counter it.
Very interesting. So the next round of the tournament is gonna see you guys going up against Citizens, and that's a team that you guys are pretty familiar with. You know, having gone up against them in previous tournaments here with the All-Star Brawl and things in the past. So is there anything we should be looking at as viewers as we go into that matchup?
I'm just gonna say is for those of you who are doubting us, because we've not won a single match against them, but I think it's going to be much better in our favor next time.
It's going to be different this time around.
Yeah,
that's it's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally looking very much forward to that match. I mean, any match of Overwatch really, but that one in particular is going to be really fun. And we do have some good like upper bracket semifinals, like the round. Triumph Academy versus Phase 1 is going to then they're going to play, you're going to play against Citizens, then obviously the winners against that in the upper bracket finals. That should be a really fun a top 4 that we have going on right now. But you know what, I'm a bit surprised that I'm not surprised that the Bastion strat worked, but I am surprised that I don't know. Once again, I think your explanation of why you didn't do well in Hollywood was very valid, obviously, because you haven't scrimmed in a while, and that really showed that the meta has been shifting, right? Because if you're not ready for something new, then yeah, that just can really stump your plan. So is that really going to change the way you scrim in the coming times, or not so much?
Well, it depends. For now, we're just working on the meta that we have, right? Because you can work on the fundamentals of counter swapping, right? Even though the meta is going to change with the coming 2-2-2 lock, you can still work on your fundamentals. Each comp has similarities to other comps. Like you can think of Hogarissa versus the Winston Diva, right? It's true that the play styles are very different, and if the players can't adjust, then you have a problem. But fundamentally, it comes down to coordination and knowing what each of your roles needs to do, and you can apply that to different compositions. It's the same way that I look at learning different heroes. Let's say I can take Hanzo and I can take McCree. While fundamentally they seem very different because of their weapons and abilities, they're both very similar in the fact that they're long-range DPS. They can pack a lot of punch, but are also very squishy. The main difference being that McCree has more CC, so he can play to counter flankers a lot more, but Hanzo is a lot better when it comes to verticality and movement, and he's a lot harder to pin down. But when it comes to the fundamentals, they're both long range, right? So you can apply staying safe, staying at a distance, and then playing for picks or playing for the value that you need to get. And you can apply that the same way in compositions as long as you know the fundamentals.
Oh, very well. So just gonna keep working on the communication and stuff, right? Yeah, no, I'm very interested to see you guys move on. I also want to congratulate you not just on the win today, but also on getting the viewers MVP. Apparently, they liked a lot what you did today, so congrats on that.
I have a feeling of where that came from.
I mean, you know what? I can't see who votes. I'm just gonna say that you won, and just say that was because you played amazingly. So I'll just do that. Are there any shoutouts you want to do before you go?
Well, we had a tougher match earlier today, and it was unfortunate circumstance, but we were kind of upset by the end of it, right? Because it was a tough match and we could have won it. But I'm very proud of how my team came back and didn't let that affect them this match. Even though we went down in the first round, in the first map, we didn't let that affect us, and we brought it back the rest of them, and I'm very proud of them for that. Okay,
well, that's good to hear. We discussed that a little bit as well with your manager before the match started, and we did hear that there was some unfortunate circumstances, but it can still put you down. So it's good to hear that you guys are mentally stable like that, or at least mentally you have mental fortitude to deal with that. I want to thank you for coming in for the interview, though. It's always nice to talk to people, and I think people who aren't necessarily as familiar with competitive Overwatch might have learned a lot from you. So thank you for coming in, Max.
Thank you.
Well, Shy Guy, I think that was it for tonight.
Yeah,
we got a good game. We got some good Overwatch. Learned things too. We laughed a little. We cried a little. We learned a little. We also forgot some things. Probably. We 100% did. I'm sure we did.
We always do.
Yeah. What I will not ever forget about, though, is our support. We get so much support out of omnicoach.gg, guys. I cannot stress this enough. And if you want to get support, if you want to improve on Overwatch, not just by these free interview clinics that you get from people like Max Show, but also from your own footage and video packages, go to omnicoach.gg. They have amazing tools to help you out, and you can get some discounts. You get 10% discount on your first video order with the Star Esports promo code. So that's always a nice thing to do. Definitely hope you guys get a little value out of that one. And preparing for this new meta shift, that could be in your favor. You could get that edge in the competition. So I might even go over there myself. I don't know yet. It's all going to be up in the air a little bit. For now, though, we want to thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Overwatch All-Star Brawl. We're going to be back as soon as we can, obviously, with more matches. I've been Man of Class. You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch on Man of Class OW. And Shy Guy, if people want to find you, where can they go?
They can find me on Twitter at Shy Guy OW. So keeping it simple here for both of us. Pretty easy to find. It's been a fun series here tonight. This was definitely one of the more entertaining matches we've had of the tournament so far. Two really good teams that we have not seen the last of in this tournament. Double elimination, obviously. SK still very much in this and having the opportunity now to make a run through the lower bracket.
Yeah, and SK, I mean, we haven't even mentioned it, but Redacted was like they said, they had a little bit of tough loss earlier today. That was against T Lullaby, which is going to be the next opponent of SK Esports. So I don't want to say anything here, but logically speaking, you should normally say that T Lullaby would be a very annoying opponent to play against for SK. But we'll see how that turns out. I mean, they're going to go to lower bracket round 2. They're going to play against each other, play for a chance to play either against Metamorphic, against Aptics. There's going to be so much happening. It's just the tournament. We're not even halfway done. We're going to go until the end of the month and even beyond that. So look forward to it. Follow us on Twitch, on DLive, on Twitter, anywhere you really want to keep updated on us. and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a very great night.